All right, hey everyone, it's Corson-Knowles from OnlineInternetMarketingHelp.com, and today I'm here with Shaun Furman, and Shaun is the host and founder of the Millionaire Mentors Today show, a really successful podcast show where he interviews millionaires from all over the world and asks them, how they became so successful. So, Shaun, tell us why you decided to start your show and what kind of stuff are you working on?
All right. Well, the reason why I started the show, and it didn't start as a show. First, it started as just me as an online marketer. If I go into my background, I started doing internet marketing in 2010, and I was working with a lot of local businesses. I had about 50 clients, ranging from your $50,000 solo operator all the way up to your $20 million venture capital funded businesses. And it was my job to sit down with these people and sell them marketing, obviously. And I had to understand what it was that they wanted. And what the common theme was, that they really wanted more time, not necessarily more money. And they wanted systems to be able to walk away from their businesses. And at the time I'd been reading and doing a lot of different types of businesses that create passive income. I think it was around that time that I'd read the 4-Hour Work Week, and I'm like, man, I'm sick of working 80 hours a week, because I've been working since I was 12. I started my first job when I was 12, and throughout junior high, high school, even into university, I was working 2-3 jobs at a time, at all times. I've basically been a workaholic, and so the theme was that people wanted more time. So I was working on my own little projects. I was working on licensing deals. I was working on real estate deals, and ultimately, most everything that I did had failed. But one thing that I could do was point entrepreneurs in the direction that they wanted to go. So if they had some kind of idea, some kind of product, they could license it to a larger company who would distribute it. And I was working in the basement of a patent office, so I get to run all of this stuff by patent clerks at lunch, and I thought that was really cool. So I didn't want to help people build their businesses as a marketer. I wanted to show them systems that they could use to get to their real goals, to spend time with their families, to build businesses that they can walk away from and actually start to live the lifestyle that they desire. Then when I started my own online business, my first online business was a fountain. No, there were a few before this, but my first actual business was starting a fountain pen company. I found out I couldn't. That was not my passion. I write with these things all the time. I've got 2 right here, and just sitting there, like hundreds of dollars of pens just sitting around. Something that I absolutely love, but I'm not passionate about it. I'm not gonna get on a show and talk about pens for 4 hours.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
what I do love to talk about is making a difference in businesses. And so I started a blog after my fountain pen website. I said, screw this. It's not my passion. It's causing a lot of headaches. There's a lot of internal tension, and it's not me. And at that time, I was doing a lot of travel. I was working with a lot of entrepreneurs. I was doing courses and going to seminars. And I got to know a lot of, key and high-level people quite well. I was building quite good relationships. And it was about last December when I said, okay, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to do what I want to do. And it started as a blog, which turned into a members website, which when I put the content out in the public eye, people just loved it. They wanted to see more of it. They wanted to hear more of it. So I turned it into a web TV show. I was watching a show called The Rise to the Top at the time, and the host is David Siteman Garland, and he was really the inspiration behind all of Millionaire Mentors Today as a web TV show. So that was kind of the evolution. And what Millionaire Mentors Today is all about is creating that lifestyle that you desire. It's all about passive income businesses, whether that's real estate, whether that's licensing, whether you do ATMs or vending, whatever it is for you, online business. I know for you it's online business.
Yeah, I love online businesses. It's so much fun. And I love teaching. And I like what you said before. It's for you. It's not really about the money. It's about helping people spend more time with their families and have freedom and the lifestyle that they really wanted. And that's why I love online businesses, because you can have that freedom, that lifestyle that you can't have if you're in a corporate job, or if you own a typical business with employees and you don't have good managers and you have to be there every single day in the office, or like in a retail store where you got to open and close the store. So I love working from home and having the free time, the freedom. So is that kind of the theme of your show then? Like, how do people get more freedom in their business and their lives?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about freedom. At the end of the day, it's everything comes down to who you are and who are you going to be remembered as. And do you want to be remembered as the person who was too busy for all of your relationships, that you alienated your family, that you alienated the most important people in your life, or do you want to be able to create a system where you can work at it 4 hours a week? I have never experienced a 4-hour work week. I mean, maybe Tim Ferriss has. That's awesome, but maybe 10 hours a week. I met a woman this past week while I was in LA. She works about 5 hours a week and does a multi-6-figure business. Now, it took her, 5-10 years to get there, but she's done it.
Awesome.
And it's amazing. She travels around, she builds relationships with people. She's an incredible, beautiful woman.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, you've interviewed so many successful people now with your show, and I know you've been to all these seminars and things like that and met, thousands of people that you've talked to. What do you think it is that makes the difference between someone who says, I want to start my own business, I want to work from home, I want to spend more time with my family, and they never get around to doing it, and then the person who actually, like this lady, who's working 10 hours a week and still making, high 6-figure income? What's the difference between the person who succeeds like that and the person who doesn't?
I would say the difference is your why power. Now, what that means is the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Now, the person who says they want to be successful but never does anything never gets clear on the reasons that they want to do something. They'll say things like, I want to make $1 million. Well, $1 million doesn't mean anything because that's not an emotional response. Now, if you say, a more clear answer would be, I want to earn, X number of dollars, let's say, $5,000 a week, spending 4 hours at it so I can do alternative activities like go sailing with my family or go to dinner with my wife, build my relationship with my wife, or work on a different business. That's a much more clear goal, and with clarity comes power. And I think the people that don't take action are people that are not clear on what they want. And the people that are the most successful that I know are very clear on what they want. They don't know how they're going to get it, but they're really good at doing one thing, and that's taking the first step. I did not foresee getting a billionaire on my show within 4 months of me starting the show. That was something that happened as a result of me taking the first step. That was never, I wanted that, but I didn't know how I was going to get it. And it just all came together as I started taking one step forward, then the second step, then the third step. And as you take those steps, your eyes start to become open, the path starts to become clear, you start to recognize what's around you. You're no longer lost in what you're doing. So,
yeah, that's true. That's awesome. Sorry, what was that?
And those are two components that separate the person who says, I want to improve but never does, and the person who says, I'm going to do it and takes action. And I think, another reason is pain. I would certainly say that if you're in a place where you've experienced a lot of pain, you get really sick of it, and you're going to do something about it. And I would say that's a much more motivating place to be than a place where you are comfortable at all times. So, I know that when I'm getting in my comfort zone, I'm either not doing enough or I'm not learning something that I need to be learning. So
definitely, like a lot of people they're just comfortable. They've got a job, they're doing okay. They're just getting used to the same old, and they don't want to make any changes, right? And so they don't advance and move forward in their business. But you said something really interesting about 4 months in, you got this billionaire on your show, and you didn't expect that at all. I see so many people who come to me for advice and will say, how do I get a billionaire on my show, or some kind of goal like that? How do I get a billionaire on my show, or how do I do $1 million real estate deal, or how do I make $1 million online? And that's like you said, it's not really a good question because I can't tell you how to do that. you're just not at the place right now. If you don't have a website or you don't have a show, then you can't get a billionaire on your show and you can't make $1 million with your website. Like if you haven't even started yet, there's no way I can tell you what to do to get to that point. But once you start, I can say, okay, you've already done this, now here's your next step, and here's your next step. I can't tell you what 1,000 steps from now is for you because you haven't even started. And I think that's the biggest mistake people make, right? I mean, they don't get started.
They don't get started, or they look too far ahead. If you haven't started online, the first thing that you need to do is set up a blog, and then you need to start putting content out. Then you need to start distributing that content through social media, through social bookmarks, backlinks, all the marketing stuff, and then building your list.
Definitely.
Each one of those takes time and takes steps. Now, and it's not easy in the beginning. It gets easier once you get momentum.
Definitely. So let's talk about then. So let's say someone started a blog, or started a website, or whatever business that they're in, but they haven't really gotten to that point where they feel like they're having any success yet, or you know what I mean? Like the stumbling blocks keep coming up, and they haven't really broken that point where they're really making good money with it. What do you do at that point?
That was me. There were so many points where I wanted to give up. With the first launch of my members website, I got 5 members at $40 a month, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I put in all of this time, all of this energy, all of this effort for what? Nothing. For almost nothing. Like, I'm grateful that the money came in, but I learned a lot of lessons from failure, and I guess the key would be to just keep going. If you really want what you're going after, you will keep going, and the way that you keep going is to sit down and analyze all of your mistakes. I keep a journal. I have a stack of journals over there. Over the past year, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 journals, almost one a month, filled with my insights, my lessons from mistakes, questions on why things went wrong. And you really have to sit down and think about what it is that you're creating, why it is that you want to create it, and when things go wrong, analyze what went wrong, where did it go wrong, and what can you do to improve it. Those are key questions that you need to ask in thinking time, and I think that you have to schedule that time. I don't think that's an option. I think it needs to be scheduled. You can't just do it when crap hits the fan. I'm sorry to say it. You have to have it scheduled in. Some people will do it weekly. Alex Mondosian does it weekly. I do it once every month. So I sit down for 3 or 4 hours and think about, what's working, what's not working. Mind you, I have meetings in that time with people like you, talking about what's working, what's not working, but I sit down alone in my office over on this side of my my writing space on my desk, and I just think about what can I do to improve.
Mm-hmm. That's so important. You just said thinking time and talked about scheduling that, but a lot of people never heard that before. Why schedule time to think? And how do you schedule time to think?
Yeah, well, why schedule time to think? For the exact same reasons that I just said, but you need to be disciplined in your efforts to, to create whatever it is that you're creating. Now, I talk to a lot of people that, say they want to do something, and one of the questions that I ask people is, how many nights of sleep are you willing to lose to get to that goal? And well, sometimes the answer is a lot, sometimes it's not. But if people aren't willing to put their time and energy and effort, sink money into it, sink emotion and heart into it, maybe alienate relationships. Relationships are your most valuable. They're so valuable. Do whatever you can to not alienate them. But I've alienated relationships in this process, and you have to be willing to go through all of the emotional stuff that comes along with pursuing your passion.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I definitely agree with that. We all have roadblocks and challenges, and you got to just push through them, right?
Absolutely. It's absolutely essential. Failure is not the opposite of success. What failure is a prerequisite for success, because all failure is a roadblock. It's a test. Can you go to the next level? Mm-hmm. That's how we're tested in everything. In school, in the school system, you're tested at a higher difficulty, and then at a higher difficulty, and then at a higher difficulty. And when you pass, you're better for it.
Definitely. And I like how you put that, and as a metaphor with school. I mean, I'm not a big fan of school. I think the school system has a lot of problems, and I hated every minute of my schooling, honestly. So glad to be out of there because I love what I'm doing now. I learn every day. I study every day harder than I ever studied in school because I'm passionate about what I'm learning about. But I think it's interesting that you had that metaphor with school because it's like you're going to the next level and you're climbing that ladder. And so many people, like we talked about before, they make that mistake of they want to be on the 1,000th grade of their business and they haven't even started at level 1 in the business yet. And I think that's the key, like you said, is that you've got to start, you've got to get it started, and then you've got to have mentors like you. Like all the guests on your show, they've all got mentors, right? These millionaires and billionaires, are they just working alone, or do they have people that teaching them too?
They all have mentors. They also mentor other people. They have mastermind groups. They have coaches. I have a business coach. I have accountability partners, and people that keep me in check. It's important, and it takes discipline, and it takes a lot of effort and energy. But at the end of the day, if you have someone who's going to kick your ass if you're not doing what you say you're going to do, you might not make that phone call to Donald Trump's office. Now, I haven't had Donald Trump on the show, but you're not going to make this scary phone call. And actually, that's one of the things that I do. I pick up the phone and I make the phone call. That separates me from the other 10,000 people who are out there who are just sending an email saying, hey, I want you on my show, I want you on my radio show, I want you on my blog, or whatever. I pick up the phone, me personally.
Yeah, going that extra mile, right? And doing the things that probably scares the hell out of you sometimes.
Oh, all the time, absolutely. One of my first guests on the show, actually my very first guest on the show was Ryan Lee, and and he's an internet marketer. Your audience probably already knows that, but Ryan was the first guest on my show. And when he found out about that, he was actually stunned. He thought, is this guy serious or not? Well, let's look 4 months later. Yeah, I'm here to stay. So I was going somewhere with that, but I seem to have lost my train of thought, which, when it happens on an interview, it always sucks, but you can always find a way to recover from it too. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's cool. I mean, you got Ryan Lee on the show. You've had this billionaire on the show. I mean, what's in the future for you? What do you want to do next to the show?
What do I want to do next with the show? Basically, I want to continue to grow the audience. I want to obviously have sponsors on the show, but to keep putting out great content that people can use in their businesses, their day-to-day life, anything that makes an improvement. Here's what I love. I love receiving the email or the Facebook message saying, this is how you changed my business. This is, this was not working in my life, and now this is working in my life because this was said in your show or because of your interview with XYZ person. Because that's part of the way that I measure how successful I am. It's not, money, yes, absolutely, but it's in contribution. I'm doing this as a form of giving, not as a way of making money, and I think that also separates what I do from what a lot of people do. It's not just about the money. This is my purpose for right now.
That's awesome. That's powerful. And I think that's one of the reasons you're going to be making a lot more money than a lot of other people out there, because all they do is they focus on the money, they chase the money, they go for these, short-term, get-rich-quick kind of things, and they never sit down and build a sustainable business with sustainable customer relationships that last a lifetime. And that's how you build successful businesses. You got relationships that last, not just, hey, let's go make $1 million this week. Oh, that didn't work. See you later, right? That's a fly-by-night kind of business online, right? It's pretty common nowadays.
Yeah, and I've made that mistake a lot. I've gone into businesses and I've gone into jobs with dollar signs in my eyes, and every time, I get hurt. I hurt myself. I'm not a victim of anybody, but I went in there and I wasn't, inspecting what I was expecting. So I needed I needed to learn more. I needed to become a better person to do what I was doing, or because it wasn't something that was in line with who I am, I needed to walk away from it. And that's something that I've become very good at, is walking away from opportunities, because I get a lot of offers. Now there are a few that I consider, and they are much more in line with who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm doing right now. So.
Well, let's talk about that, because you talk about getting offers and how you choose your offers. Most people that I talk to in business, they choose their offers by, or they pick the offers that come to them, or the opportunities that come to them. They say, how can I make the most money the fastest? And that's how they decide what business to go after. How do you decide?
I have a set of rules that I work with in business. Any business that I get involved in, I have to be able to do it from anywhere. I have to have no geographic restrictions. I have to have unlimited income potential. I need to be able to have a team that can manage it on my behalf. I need to be able to work from home. Those are components of what is important to me. I'm not going to be, running a business where I have to be there night and day. I'm not as a business owner going to start, a clothing store that I have to be in there managing my employees all the time. It will never happen. Now, if I open up a clothing store, it's going to be with somebody who knows that business, who knows how to create the business, and knows systems that, they have management in place where I don't have to be there.
Definitely.
That's one way. Another way is, choosing by your core values. And one of my core values is, it has to be something that I believe in. And I used to work in the financial industry. I used to sell insurance. And
you were an insurance salesman? I wouldn't have had you on the show if I knew that.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that on the air, but yeah, I used to sell insurance and mutual funds. And one of the things that I don't like the mutual fund industry as a whole. I have mutual funds, but I choose the people that I invest with very carefully. I have advisors who literally study the people who are running the funds. Like I don't know how this happened, but I just happen to know a few of those people. So I get to know what I'm investing in quite closely, and I know who to pay attention to. But overall, I don't believe in the mutual fund industry, or in mutual funds in general, because you have no control over your investment. You pay out as an investor. You're paying someone even if they're losing you money, and that doesn't sit right with me. And I couldn't do that. So that was when I was 19 years old, just getting into real estate and understanding what real estate was. And I thought, if you can get better returns in real estate than you can in mutual funds, and you can control it, there are so many more ways to control it, through corporations, different types of agreements. You choose your tenants. You can add value to the property, add a fence, add a garage, change the paint. I mean, these things are ways of adding value. Do landscaping. I mean, landscaping's $2,000. It could add $10,000. It depends on, it depends on a number of factors, more moving parts, but you have control over it in the end. And I guess I'm a control freak.
Yeah, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are like that. Definitely want to be in control. But I think it's interesting you talked about, mutual funds and investments in the same kind of sentence there as starting a business. And I think that's what's really unique about, home-based entrepreneurs like us, is that, the personal finances is so involved with the business aspect of it. And you've got to manage both really effectively. See people who start a business online, maybe make a lot of money. They piss all their money away buying, sports cars and things like that. And at the end of the day, they've got nothing left to show for all their work. And, maybe the business goes bankrupt or whatever, and they're back at ground zero. So let's talk about that real quick. What are these people that you're interviewing who have built up this massive wealth, what is it that they do? Obviously they get a successful business, but how do they manage their money to make sure it's safe?
They manage their money. Well, here's what they do. They acquire assets. And that's what they're in the business of doing. If they want to buy something like, a sports car or a Ducati motorcycle or, a new beach house, what they're going to do is go out and purchase an asset. So they're going to go out, let's say they're going to acquire a business. This business does, it cash flows a couple $100,000 a year. Then they'll use the cash flow to pay for a couple $100,000, whatever, $10,000 a month, after everything. Then they'll purchase their liability through that asset. Then they've acquired something.
Right, so they get the business or the cash flow or the real estate first, and that pays for the cars and the nice things. So they don't go out and buy the cars before they get the cash flow.
That's right, and our society is so, attuned to instant gratification that all we do is, go out and get a credit card because you get 500 credit card offers in the mail every week. Get a credit card and go, buy whatever you want. Not understanding that, that's not your money, and you're going to owe a hell of a lot more, and you're not, you're never going to get out of that cycle if you continue that habit. Now, what I do personally is I have a money management system that I follow, and it covers, 6 human needs. One is instant gratification, and I literally have money that I just throw away, that I will, I went to dinner tonight at a fine dining restaurant, 85 bucks, whatever. But that was money that I had that I could just throw away on something that I enjoyed. It was instant gratification for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that one base covered. I don't have to go out and rack up credit card debt. Do I have credit cards and credit card debt? Absolutely. Do I have a way of managing? Absolutely.
That's right. You got to be smart with your money for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Shaun, thanks so much for being with us on the show today. Where can people find out more info about your show and what kind of stuff you're doing?
All right, so my show is simple to find. It is millionairementorstoday.com, and go there, check out the episodes, put your name, jump on the email list, send you some cool emails. You'll get to see each episode every week. And you're going to learn a lot about passive income businesses. And it's not just going to be about passive income businesses. It's going to be about business, any business as well. But the majority of the content is about passive income businesses and who you have to become in order to create the lifestyle that you desire. So again, it's millionairementorstoday.com, and that's where you can find me. So yeah, and again, thank you, Tom, for having me on your podcast, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun. It's always fun talking to you, man.